two funny stories about our wedding. The first one took place during the service. At the end of it, there is a cantor. The cantor does these 7 benedictions. Apparently, this cantor thought he wanted to be an opera singer and just didn't make that a career because he managed to suck all the oxygen out of the chuppah for 10 minutes. If you watch our wedding video, you'll see my wife and I hysterically laughing during the entire time. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, my mother-in-law came over to me and said, listen, I'd like you not to have one of your grandfathers do the bruchas. I'd like my cousin Dickie to stand in for her father. Her father had passed away a month before the wedding. Now, as you probably know, Jewish grandfathers live for this stuff. Well, I walked over to my dad, who had a few by this point, and I said, Dad, I just can't deal with this. He says, I got this. And he walks over to my mother-in-law, and I have no idea 25 years later what he said because he's now gone and she won't tell me. But she turned the color of her dress, which I will tell you was a very bright color. He turned, walked away, and said, done. I said, thank you, Dad.
Well, the whole thing was special. I married a man who I'd known, I was marrying a man who I'd known just a year, and we were going to be moving to Massachusetts, so I was giving up everything. And I was a little freaked out by the whole thing, and I was very emotional. So right before, we were supposed to be getting ready to walk down the aisle, my mother pulls out a 5 milligram Valium, and she says, I'll split it with you. And so we split it, and we're walking down the aisle, and there on the videotape, you can see it, is that I'm sniffling. I'm crying, and I'm emotional the whole way down. And I'm sniffling, and my husband, to lighten the mood under the chuppah, turns to me very quietly and says, I'm not wearing any underwear. And you see, all of a sudden I start laughing on the videotape, so they kind of lightened the mood.
On our wedding day, my wife had a good friend who was coming and who was looking to meet a nice Jewish guy. And my wife actually had a fellow in mind. And she said, look, I'll point him out to you, see what happens. So my wife did that apparently. So during the dinner and the celebration, we're sitting at the bridal table and we're eating, and her friend comes over and looking kind of unhappy, and Naomi said, "What is it?" And she said, "I don't know who he is." Well, and Naomi says, "I told you, he's kind of short, dark, curly hair and a beard." And she said, "Will you please look at the people who are here? 2/3 of the men are short, dark, with curly hairs and with beards." So that's one memory I have of it.